Hello, my name's Neil Whitfield, and I am a professional copywriter who helps estate agents to write better property listing descriptions. So I thought it would be an interesting experiment to look at how Chat GPT and another property listing specific AI tool will write property listing descriptions compared to how I would write them as a professional copywriter with years of experience. Obviously, Chat GPT's been getting a lot of attention recently, and many copywriters have started to fear the worst and think that their time is numbered. So this is me having a little bit of an experiment to see whether that's true and whether I need to think of another career, or whether in fact I'm pretty safe and secure. So I've already done one video where I've had a look at the output from Chat GPT and PropertyPen and how that compared to my writing for quite a large detached family home with a games room that could be a snooker room. And this video I'm going to have a look at a completely different property, quite a modern high-spec apartment. So I'm just going to share my screen in a second and show you ChatGPT, and I will put all the information in there into ChatGPT and PropertyPen, and we'll quickly see what output they produce. So here we are in ChatGPT. I'm sure many of you will already be familiar with it. I've got the same information for both ChatGPT and PropertyPen, so that I want to give them a fair crack of the whip. And this is information. This is just literally the information that my client sent to me many months ago when I originally wrote this property listing. So you can see there's the address. This is what my client is saying. So it's a little bit unstructured, but there's quite a lot of useful information there. Interestingly, there's some really nice, good information about what's in the local area, which I really like using, and other stuff. Free yoga classes in Barton Plainfield. We'll come back to that. So with it being ChatGPT, what I need to do is tell it what I want. So right, agents. I will say 500 to 1,000 words. That's about what I tend to do to appeal to. So the client actually says a busy couple or a family. I think I wrote this aiming more at a young couple. Can't remember. To a young couple buyer. Okay. I will put the headline in the first paragraph. Should be no more than 250 characters, because anybody who's on Rightmove should know that's what you have for the short description. Than 250 characters long. There we go. I'm paid for my writing, not my typing, which is a good thing. So write an estate agent's property listing description, 500,000 words. There we go. There's all the basic information, and then you go, off you go. Actually, it's a townhouse, isn't it? It's not an apartment. Still, it's quite modern and trendy. So it's generating there. Whilst it's doing that, what I'll do is I will put all this information into PropertyPen. So it doesn't like it, I know from a previous experiment, it doesn't like it when you put the address stuff in the key elements. And what is it? So three bedroom modern use townhouse. Okay, create listing. So this is all real time, so it's all done live. And obviously one of the key things that both Chat GPT and PropertyPen do talk about is, creating stuff in no time. So here we go. This is what PropertyPen has done. Again, as I said on the previous video, you don't get the opportunity to tell it how long it needs to be, or to tell it how long the short description needs to be. So that's a bit of a shortcoming, I think, with PropertyPen, which I'm sure they can sort out. This 3-bedroom modern use townhouse is tucked away and desirable. Edina Muse. Okay. Immediately, what I see here is, because my client provided me, this is from the client's email, remember, my client provided me with pretty much this information. It's one of these things. If a client's paying me to write copy, then they don't expect me just to regurgitate exactly what they've given me on an email. I mean, this client's really good and gives me a lot of information, and she does it in quite a sort of stream of consciousness sort of way. But it probably would have taken her 5 or so minutes to write that down on an email. Well, if this is what PropertyPen has produced, then I might be being a little bit harsh, but she could have just taken what she'd written on the email to me. It's not really adding a huge amount of value here. So not fantastic, I would say. Go back to ChatGPT. Okay, it hasn't really written a huge amount. Welcome to Edina Muse. Again, a similar criticism. It's not really added anything to the information that my client has done. In fact, it's not talking about the Lilac Bakery. It's not talking about Jimmy's Cafe. I'm going to give it a chance. Because at the end of the day, you can play with these things, and you do need to need to find out what works with them. But again, my client could have just copy and pasted what she had on her email, and that would have been just as good. So you can see there, actually, to give it its credit, I've said rewrite and expand more on the attractions of the local area, and it is. Now, interestingly, what I said on the earlier video 1, which I do suggest you check out, is that when I'm writing listing copy for a client, I subconsciously, one of the first things that I do is I work out what the hero is going to be. Is it going to be the property, or is it going to be the area? Because sometimes the property is fantastic, and that really needs to be what you focus on. Other times, let's say it's quite a dull apartment in a 1997 new build block. We all know what they're like. Not going to be the most exciting, but it might be around the corner from a really buzzy, bustling high street, and in that case I would always focus the copy on the area. Or it might be next to a tube station or something like that. I would always focus on the area benefits, rather than feeling I must write 80% of the listing about the property and only 20% about the area. If the property is dull and the area is exciting, write it about the area. So it has expanded on it. It's talking about St Thomas, excellent bus links, only 20 minutes walk to the station. So yeah, I think the secret there is, get it to work a little bit harder, and it can do better for you. So one of the key things that I do whenever I'm writing copy for clients is make sure that it's readable. I use a tool called Hemingway app, and it's something that I talk about in my Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Property Listing. I would always suggest you put your copy into Hemingway app to check the readability. It gives you a reading grade age. This is an American school grade, but it's saying there, aim for 9. I always try to aim for 7 or 8 if possible. Sometimes with the bigger, better properties, that just won't ever happen. Bigger, better properties tend to require bigger words, even if you're trying not to use bigger words. So sometimes it's unavoidable. But it visually tells you the sort of ready ones are classed as very hard to read. The sort of yellowy, mustardy ones are classed as hard to read. So you've got hard to read and very hard to read. And you can just see they're visually large blocks of text, 317 words. It tells you the characters and all the rest of it. So what I would do if I was faced with what I tend to do to make my writing better is if I put something into this and it has got a very hard to read, I will try and break the sentence up. So we can see that Chat GPT has got an 11. Let's see what PropertyPen does. 10, slightly better, because fewer very hard to read sentences, fewer words to give Chat GPT its dues. It did write more the second time of asking. A bit of a call to action at the end. But again, both of them, really, the key thing is not really adding much more to what the client has done. So let's have a look at my copy. Now here we're looking at the copy that I created for this client, and you'll see I talked about, do you focus on the property or do you focus on the area? This headline, which, let me just check the word count and the character count, is under the magic 250 characters for Rightmove. You can see here, I'm talking about the area. I'm focusing on the area rather than the property, but I'm subtly putting in stuff about there being a private roof terrace. I do mention the 2 places that the client did, but really they could be anywhere. I'm just using those as a device to be able to sell the lifestyle benefits of the property. And again, it's visualizing and having in your own mind who the ideal buyer will be and what they're looking to get from the move. And being part of the vibrant community is the key thing here. I'm saying, having a private roof terrace is pretty cool. What makes it even better is being in the thick of the community. I write in a very conversational style. That appeals to some people, doesn't appeal to everyone. I don't tend to do much with the corporates because I will still write in a very conversational style, which they don't tend to resonate with as much. I'm using some of the local stuff that the client has already told me about. There is a little bit of a perception about St. Thomas's being, there's a bit of snobbery between north of the river and south, so I bring that in. That's something you can get dealing with a human rather than an AI. Talk about the area. So actually, you have a look at this, and whilst I mentioned the private roof terrace, we're over halfway down the page, still talking about the area. It's only at the bottom of that where I start actually talking about the property, and I do so by talking about the terrace and the back to front nature of it. And I, rather than usually I go ground floor up, with this one I've gone top floor down because of the terrace. So that's quite interesting. You can see there's a page and a half, and over a page is about the area, because that's what I, in my professional opinion, have decided is more likely to appeal to the buyer. I raised a smile at this one when I thought about the yoga, because I like this client a lot because she allows me to be a little bit more edgy. She mentioned yoga in the park, and I'm talking about open air yoga every Sunday morning in the playing fields. Now, again, not every client will allow me to have references to downward dogging in public. I like this client a lot because she does. So just to give you an idea of the readability, because that's all very important, I will copy that and then duplicate a Hemingway and do. 8. So pretty good. I always aim for sort of 7 or 8 if I can. I think I said on the earlier video, if you've got a smaller property or a more basic property, you can possibly even get that down to 6. But you can see there are only 2 very hard to read sentences, and I will have probably tried to split them up, but I've decided not to. And there's only 7 which are classed as hard to read. So with this one, I think this highlights that when dealing with a human, you can add a lot more personality and you can add a lot more local detail. And what the 2 AI tools have done with this has not really added a huge amount to the basic information that I loaded in. So a little bit disappointing with these 2. Hope you enjoyed it. There's one more to come, quite a different sort of property. So do check out video number 3, which will be coming very soon.